The judge scene turns one speech into Citizen Vigilante's central argument. Everything Uwe Boll wants to say, he puts into one courtroom. 2 minutes, one speech, done. The setup is a sentencing hearing for migrant teenagers convicted of gang rape. The judge reads the verdict. Instead of a clear condemnation, he frames the crime as trauma on both sides, reasoning his way toward light sentences. Sanders watches from the gallery. Doesn't say anything. Doesn't have to. Fans point out that this is the inciting incident that launches Sanders into vigilantism. Also, the film's argument in its most compressed form. The system isn't broken, Boll is saying. The system agrees with things like this speech. The system produces verdicts like this on purpose. The rest of the movie is Sanders' response.
The truth is this.
The "they are also victims" line is the trigger of the entire film, of the culture war pile-on, of a fairly wild 2 weeks on X. The judge's specific wording is the most clipped, most shared, most argued about moment in the movie. The perpetrators of the gang rape are described as experiencing their own form of trauma. Their actions were framed as a cry for help. The young victim, the judge explains, is not the only victim in this situation. That framing is what circulated. Supporters point to the 2016 Hamburg case that inspired the film. The dialogue, they argue, echoes the kind of court reasoning that the case became notorious for. Critics argue that packaging such language inside a fictional scene designed to provoke vigilante sympathy is a technique with a documented history. Both observations can be true at the same time.
It's like the real deal.
The Hamburg case that inspired the film involved migrant teenagers gang raping a 14-year-old girl and walking free with suspended sentences. That verdict became a flashpoint in German media and fed years of debate about how courts treat migrant offenders. Boll built the judge's speech around that documented cultural memory. Whether the fictional version constitutes commentary or incitement is exactly the argument the film was designed to start. Sanders hears the judge frame the criminals as victims too. The film holds on his face for 5 seconds. You don't need any more information than that. Armie Hammer doesn't speak during the courtroom scene. The camera holds on Sanders listening, processing, arriving at the conclusion the film has already decided he will reach. The system is not broken by accident. The system believes things like this speech. Actively. Later, Sanders confronts the judge directly. The laws are meant to protect the victims, right? The judge doesn't answer in a way that satisfies him. This is the conversation the film stages as a justification for everything that comes after. Supporters argue this is a character who tried the formal channels, watched them fail, and drew the logical conclusion. Critics argue the film fast-tracks past any real complexity to arrive there before the audience can question it. It does. That's the design. The judge represents the system Sanders wants to punish. Not a person, a category. The film makes this structural and eventually makes it literal. The courtroom judge doesn't have a developed backstory. No name the film spends time on. He exists to embody a position and become the first significant target in Sanders' campaign. Frame him as an institution rather than a person, and his eventual death becomes a statement rather than a crime plot. The film ends with Sanders killing an entire family in their apartment for the same reason. They represent the category, not the individual. The targets throughout aren't personal. They're categories. The judge is the system. The rapists are the criminals. The politicians are the corrupt officials. Variety called this xenophobic and entitled. Douglas Murray, writing for the Free Press, called the same thing righteous anger that needed better filmmaking around it. They agree on what the film is doing. They disagree on whether that's defensible. Citizen Vigilante became a culture war spectacle, a $2 million Uwe Boll, a B movie, at the center of a global fight about immigration, European justice, and what films are allowed to say out loud. Around 10% critics, 94% audience. That gap tells you almost everything. Critics called it astonishingly bad, morally bankrupt, and violent and incoherent. Audience reviewers called it timely. Newsweek paired it with Supergirl and called both films fantasies about the sovereign individual exempt from accountability. They ran it as a culture war double feature piece. That framing annoyed people on both sides, which meant it landed. The Guardian described Hammer's character as striding through Zagreb, shooting Muslims, tasering teens, and topping complicit deep state judges. Peter Bradshaw, The Guardian. One sentence that captures the film's entire strategy and its entire problem. Neither side disputes the description, they just have different feelings about it. Banned in Germany.
Now, after it was banned in Germany and clips have surfaced,
is a better headline than not rated by Germany. The Germany/FSK controversy gave the movie a bigger online frame. One of those 2 sentences is accurate. Germany's FSK Film Rating Board declined to give Citizen Vigilante any age classification, including FSK 18. Without a rating, the film can't screen in German theaters, can't sell in major retailers, can't appear on mainstream German streaming. Boll called it effective censorship. The story spread online as a clean ban. That's not what happened. Germany's actual legal ban mechanism, the BPJM Federal Index, didn't act on the film at all. Adults in Germany can still legally import, own, and privately watch it. The distinction between no FSK rating and legally banned is significant. It didn't make it into most of the posts sharing the story. Boll understood this and made no effort to correct it. He's been in the industry for 30 years. He knows exactly how online framing works, 30 years of it. Elon Musk's X-Boost pushed the movie into the wider online debate. A limited theatrical release in select North American cities became a global conversation. Roughly 48 hours, that's the timeline. Boll posted the full film on X and reached millions of views. Musk shared it with the line, "The movie Hollywood doesn't want you to see." And suddenly, a limited release became a platform-level argument, free on X for 2 days. Afterward, the film climbed high on Amazon Prime and Apple TV.
On X. Musk posted the movie on his X account last week.
Musk commented on posts tracking the numbers. Citizen Vigilante 2 will be even better. Boll went on Jack Posobiec's podcast. Musk praised the interview. For context, Boll spent years as a punchline in online film culture. Famous for bad video game adaptations, famous for literally boxing his critics in public challenges. A Uwe Boll film going platform level through Elon Musk's X account. That sentence would have looked like satire in 2024. It wasn't. The courtroom scene compresses the whole controversy into one moment. Why the film was made, why didn't Germany rate it, why it went viral. 2 minutes of screen time, all of it. The judge's speech gives the opposition a face, a voice, and an institutional context. The film doesn't explain why Sanders is angry. It shows you the thing that made him angry and holds the camera on him while he watches it. That's the clip that spread everywhere. Not the shootings, not the apartment scene, not the closing dedication, just the judge's speech. And Sanders is listening. That is why the clip worked. This is also why the FSK declined to rate it. The speech is delivered in a courtroom by a judge applying a legal framework that extends sympathy to perpetrators. Boll later said he was told the film was seen as inciting violence against migrants.
That women in America and Europe deserve to be raped because of a dress code.
One scene, 2 minutes long, in a Uwe Boll film, carrying more weight than anything else in the movie combined. That's either a sign of how effective the scene is or how incendiary it is. Nobody involved is rushing to answer that.
Directly from me. I'm here to help you take that control back.